Hello, and welcome to the road trip. You are joined by myself, Mr. Tom, and you're joined by Spencer.
Good afternoon.
Excuse me. I'm in the process of writing a tweet to Gary because he's going to have questions. He may notice that this stream is not going out to his Twitter because apparently when I said go live, it said you need a premium account to go live. I was like, no, I don't. And he went, yeah, you do. To which I was like, okay, well, let's move that off of the thing. I'm pretty sure he'd prefer the show to actually go out live rather than my apologies. Anyway, Sam Greenwood, how you doing? I'll be a bit in the chat. Stefan, oh look, he's going. It's a slagathon in the chat. Sorry, Spencer. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. Hello, chat room, and happy Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one because obviously going to be live later on tonight as well. It's the best time to potentially catch COVID. So, although ironically, it's no longer a death sentence, so there is that.
That's a good thing.
It certainly is. Have Leeds signed anyone? More importantly, are they better than National League level? We have signed Joe Rothwell on loan from Bournemouth, and the reason that is potentially really good is because he played for Southampton last season, and more importantly, played for Southampton at Wembley last season. So at least we've got someone that knows how to win in the team. But we've also bought Jayden Bogle from Sheffield United, which ostensibly he's going to play where Archie Gray played, and he's actually a right back, so potentially good. Tiring work, hey, yeah, it is. Did you enjoy the opening? Did you see it? The opening ceremony?
I mean, I saw some of it, but the only thing I've watched really watched was the rugby open pool play. That's it. Other than that, I could care less.
Just as a warning, I do warn you, if Moss does appear, it will then immediately turn into a discussion on candor and cheating.
Oh yeah, how do you? Never mind.
I don't really care about it, but I just want to needle him because people may or may not know or remember Leeds United got done in a cheating scandal. Surprise, surprise! In 2019, because to be fair, Marcelo Bielsa goes old school. He doesn't bother with drones and stuff. He actually sends the guy to the training ground of the other team with a pair of pliers so they can cut their way through the fence and then just watch from there with binoculars. It's a proper way to do it. Rather than all the fancy technology. Basically, we got to the semi-final of the Copa America. Well, yeah, I suppose because you watched all the training sessions. They've been doing it for years, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, you could also literally do that by watching game film too, but you know,
that was the best bit of it. It was game. Apologies. Gary's here.
Now we actually have to talk sports.
No, this is the road trip, Spencer. How many times have you been on this show?
Gary, so you know.
Hello, Mr. Tom. Hello, Spencer. Hello, everybody in the chat.
I've sent you a message about it, Gary, but basically, when I pressed start the stream, it came up you need a premium account on Twitter to stream to there now. So I knocked it off the.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I keep doing it, even though every time I do it, I get that message. So it's just kind of what I. So it's not. It's something new. They want you to pay more money, and it's like, no, thanks.
Yeah, No, in case you wondered why it was no longer at the top.
That's fine. That's fine.
Leeds
That's
cheating,
fine.
never. It's true. It's true. Have you heard back what happened to Canada?
I saw that their women's manager got suspended, and then they said, "Oh wait, the men do it too," but they didn't. They didn't suspend him. I don't get it. What's up with that?
Well, I was sitting there secretly hoping that it would all be Jesse Marsh's fault, but obviously he's only been the manager for about a month, so it's really unfair for me to sit here and go, it's all Jesse Marsh's fault.
Oh, okay.
I'd
So
love to blame him.
it's just part of.
He's the only one who's actually not culpable for the whole thing. And obviously, I'll try to be
I'm
fair,
not
even to Jesse Marsh.
Yeah,
Question
it's
for
not.
you, Gary.
I'm not in the loo, but I am in Seattle, and I'm sitting in an apartment upstairs next to the window. It's kind of cool. It's a nice
Got a
spot.
random question for you,
So
Gary. Have you seen any James Bond films?
I've seen James Bond's films. Yeah, I have seen some. Why?
I just wondered. It's just a thing that we were kind of going to go into at a point. Like, what's your favourite one? What's the best one?
My favorite one. Oof. You know what?
No right or wrong.
I don't know. I see. I'm a Roger Moore fan. And then after that, that's for me when it kind of dropped off. It just, I did like the Remington Steele guy, but I liked him in Remington Steele more than I did in
Mr.
James
Brosnan.
Bond. Yeah, yeah. So and
Interesting.
I mean it's all right now, but it's different. It's different once Roger Moore and I guess before that Sean Connery. I think the drop off is immense. I don't know what you guys think about that. I mean, the storylines might be good, but I just liked Roger Moore. So I liked Moonraker, I liked Dr. Pussy, I like I liked Jaws and all that kind of stuff. Is it Dot to Know? I think it was, and
That was the first
Odd
one.
Job and stuff like that. Like I don't know if you recognize um, the bad guys in the new ones as much. As they didn't stand up to me. I mean, the guy in Octopussy when he's eating the lamb head, and he looks over and he looks at the guy and it's got the same eyes. Like what the? Like I remember that. I don't remember, the latest ones, right? With with those characters, those actors now. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think. I think it's not the same. I mean, they're probably good quality movies, but are they like those ones back in the days? Like I mean,
Just before,
the white car going underwater and shooting up missiles. I mean, I love that. Now it's like now it's not as it's believable stuff more now, right? So
I mean, because you got to think about with this with Bond, like it changes through the decades, right? The world changes and film changes. I think that's the difference between those, right? Like the 70s, the Roger Moores were pretty good. The enemy was the Russians or whatever, right? So like the enemies kind of changed to the decades. I know it's probably Spectre is probably one of my favorite ones now. It would have been like probably one of the Pierce Brosnan ones, but Spectre was really good. And even the only one that's ever got me that actually like I didn't see it coming was Skyfall. Skyfall is really good. But yeah, there is a little bit of something with the enemies, something we said with that, Gary, where like you recognize them in the Roger Moore films a little bit more than you do in the later ones. So, but of course, everybody recognized Batista.
They're so outlandish compared to him.
Yeah.
Whereas, just to quickly pivot from that, and we'll go back to it. Sam Greenwood's our official Olympic football on the ground reporter
that's rugby.
Fiji versus Australia. Oh, is that rugby sevens?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Anyway, he just saying the previous one that he was watching Dominican Republic versus Spain. They've got no chance of winning because they've not got Junior Firpo in the team. So anyway, Roger Moore was class. I check out from the hotel in 45 minutes.
Let's just hope the
Scots
clock
have a
doesn't
bit of
start over
urine,
again.
don't they? We this, we that. Are you in the same hotel as BX? Gary?
I am not on the same. I'm on a different coast. He's not even on a different coast. He's in Orlando, so he's on the eastern side of the country. I'm on the western side, so no, we're not anywhere close.
Understood. No talk pish. We've then got Rosie's in with hello Jose, how's you? And then Stefan naturally gets a metaphorical erection with Jose and Rose. Or Rosie. Jose and Rosie. I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, we don't like we like to use the word we to describe. You know what, Rosie? Go back to 1942 when Gary first invented that joke. Be really impressive. Anyway, get your comedy. Stop stealing it from Gary. They do drink a lot of iron brew.
You know what's funny? I am back many years ago. I had some friends from England, and when you just say "get your own jokes," he spent like 30 minutes saying "get your own jokes," driving up and down the street. It was late at night, and similar thing happened. We were using somebody else's joke, and that's how the night ended. It was a good night, but that was the phrase "get your own jokes." It was yeah. We had a little bit a little couple beverages that night. So yeah. Yes.
Okay. Oh no,
Yeah, I'm on it. I just wanted to step on and say hi from the West Coast. Hopefully, we'll see if I don't know if I'll be able to see the game. I don't know if it's even if it. I'm not paying for it, so.
Is it different from the East Coast?
Isn't it on ESPN Plus?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
I'm probably not going to watch it tonight. I know that sounds crazy, but you don't learn anything from preseason games. I have that same mentality when it comes to NFL. Case in point, the Detroit Lions, the year they went 0-16, they went 4-0 in the preseason. So
very true. But you want to see the new. For me, it's the new people. It's not really the people I already know.
Is he even playing today, though?
Oh, I don't think he's going to have time to. He's not going to have time. Like, he's just arriving. There's no way he's playing tonight. Even if he does come on, like, he maybe come on. If Arteta can put on any of our players for 5 minutes, then he could with Calafiori, but I doubt that. He'll probably be in the stands, I think.
Typical Tony.
Yeah, last I read, he was flying to London to do his medical and then go out.
Well, he's on the plane now. He's actually on a plane now en route to LA, I think. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. And I saw Gabrielle showed up and wanted to join. So
both Gabrielle's and Abbott's are in. So yeah.
I'm sure by the time they play Liverpool, the squad will be a little bit stronger. I don't expect to see Rice or Saka until.
No, they won't be there until they're back in England. So I don't know what Rosie's talking about. Get your Ampata? What is that? Is that how do you say it?
I'll translate it from Scottish to actually making sense in the sentence. I believe it's meant to mean get your own patter, as in get your own jokes.
Why can't they say get your own jokes? What's wrong with their English?
Because they're not English.
Easy.
They're just not. I mean, as much as they can try to be, they're just not.
Okay. That doesn't. All right.
It's interesting you're here though, Rosie, because did you know Scotland turned up on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire as a question? Sorry, as the answer to a question.
Oh my.
I mean, it's not for me to say, but still.
Wow, it's hard to get that question wrong, I guess, in that kind of concept, in that context right there. I think the guy missed that. You know what? I actually think he called to get help after a 50-50, and he still didn't know. So there you go. Well, I just wanted to come say hi. You guys can go back to destroying the show and all that. Listening to Spencer's Denver Broncos talk or whatever he's going to talk about today.
No, that's banned.
I've got no news. We were going to just talk Bond. That's all we were going to do.
You can talk about Bond. Like I said, I think the old school ones. Like I said, they're more for me more memorable because I can remember a lot of it. The new ones I've watched them. Like I watched the casino scene. I like that one. You know, with the with that last hand, it was pretty cool. Like him having to go out to the. I do remember when he had to go out to the car to save his life, kind of thing. Ended up in the showers, ice cold and all that kind of stuff, right? But I don't think I've seen enough of the new ones to remember many of them. So that's because I probably maybe fallen out of love because it's not Roger Moore. So
no, that makes sense.
He's only not been doing it for about 40 years, but that's okay.
Okay, well, see, I remember a lot. I don't remember a lot of things, but I can tell you a lot of different scenes from the old James Bonds. You know what I mean? Like they stick with you, right? That's back when you didn't even have DVR. Right? You have DVR now. You have streaming now. Like
I remember I had
when it's invented. Sorry.
The Spy Who Loved Me. I had that on VHS when I was a kid and I used to watch it a lot. That was a Roger Moore one.
That's when you know a movie's pretty good. Like if it's back in the days before DVR and streaming, and you could still, it still sticks in your mind certain scenes and things like that, right? Whereas now you probably could have watched it like 10 times.
Invented? Sorry.
DVR was invented long after Roger Moore was doing James Bond films. I can tell you that much.
According to the internet, because I have no way of verifying if this is true, but according to the internet, 1999 is when DVR recorders started.
19 what?
1999.
TiVo was the first company.
Yeah, TiVo. I had TiVo back then. Yeah, I had TiVo back then. But Roger Moore, I think was he still? I don't even think he was James Bond back then. Right?
It was invented in 98. They started getting rolled out in 99 via Replay TV and TiVo.
Yeah. I had TiVo service. It was good to have, but it was in its infancy then, so it wasn't as cool as it is now. So, but I'll let you guys go. Have a good show. I will talk to you guys. It's on Monday. We'll talk about how Arsenal did and Calafiori and whoever's next coming in. Arsenal's supposed to have some more players come in, so we'll see how that works out.
Do you know what time Arsenal are playing tonight, by any chance?
I think it's 1 a.m. your time, so a little bit earlier. So you'll probably be awake. Yeah, 1 a.m. your time. So
that's not the issue. Tony's popped up going, Tom, I think we should do a wrestling watch along tonight.
Don't think they're playing today, guys. I just went to. It says it's canceled.
What's canceled?
When I go to Google and Arsenal versus Man United, it says canceled.
What? I don't know.
I mean, well, more to follow. That could just be like
1 a.m. according to Google.
Something wrong.
So what Google you see, Spencer? You don't have the right Google.
I mean, I'm on Edge right now, so.
So then you're not in Chrome, right? So you're not doing it right.
I mean, I normally have Firefox up, but let me see what I got. I mean, I could be just making it up, but it says it right there. I mean.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good. Hey, guys. Have a good day. I will talk to you later. I'll talk to you on Monday, and enjoy.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
How do I get out of here now?
Yeah, press the X.
No, I'm on my phone, so it's a little bit different. So I just closed the browser window, I think. But so you guys enjoy.
I can boot you out to save you the embarrassment.
Have fun.
Yeah, go ahead, boot me out.
That was great.
I achieved a lifelong dream there. Boot Gary out. Anyway, I'm just saying, Tony should know when his own team are playing. I think he just wanted to watch Phil.
He probably does.
but Phil's not on it because I took that away from him immediately. I was like, I'm not giving him that shit. Oh, look who it is. It's Joe. If you say his first name, it doesn't count. He's not legally obligated to turn up.
You gotta say the full Christian name,
Yeah,
and he'll
of
show
course.
up.
Of course. Bye, Gary, you sexy slag. Hi, King. Oh, we've got a King, Didich, and Sam. Official with I'll get a mirror. Hi, King. Of course, Lord Greenwood acknowledges the existence of another king. Ryan might be doing a watch. I'm pretty sure he will be. Sam, you absolute slag. Slag. Ruthless Tom. In other news, Leeds United's away kit was released this week, and Dan James was also being held hostage in the marketing photo, it seems. Hold up this newspaper so everyone knows that you're alive.
There's no way that's real. Is that real?
That's a real kit.
Okay, so explain the badge to me. I mean, I get the logo in the middle. I'm not an idiot, but what's the badge?
The badge is they've not actually changed the club badge. That badge is the one we wore in the 1975 European Cup final.
Gotcha.
And the year before. They call it the smiley badge, although the internet actually calls it the penis badge because it looks like the end of a penis.
I can't say I looked that closely, so yeah.
Just in case anyone wonders.
Will you be purchasing that iconic yellow kit? Collar?
I will be asking Santa for it for Christmas, I suspect.
Yeah, the best thing about the collared shirts like this, Tom, is you can wear it to work. It's business professional, bro, because it's got the collar.
Is that the Aussie national team kit? What the fuck is on those shirts? It's our best away kit in years, and you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that, because you've seen the Leeds away kits. I wear them all the time here. They're fucking awful. This is actually a semi-respectable football shirt. I mean, we had to Leeds it up, of course, because you had to add the penis badge. Because you can't let everything be perfect, but still.
But that would have looked better with the regular Leeds badge on it, I think.
You could be right. We'll never know until next year if they decide to remove the penis badge or the smiley. I don't know why they call it a smiley. I don't know if it looks like a smiley.
I don't know what it can really. I mean, you're going to have to adopt Red Bull F1 now. Like, there's a lot of things you're going to have to do with this.
Well, I believe we had Vettel at Leeds, if I remember rightly, recently. You know what? I'll try and pull it up off the internet.
I mean, the one thing you can say, Tom, having Red Bull as a sponsor, at least you don't have to worry about their what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, trying to not get myself in trouble. You don't have to worry about their human rights violations. There we go. Sorry.
Well, no, I did say this when the deal first came out. I was like, on the surface, it sounds awful. And yeah, there's a very good possibility that we'll be playing at the Red Bull Arena at some point. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have to call it the Red Bull Arena. I'll take their money, so TV has to call it, but I'm still going to call it Ellen Road because that's what it is. But if you pay us 100 million or whatever, then yeah, let BBC Match of the Day or the Championship coverage call it the Red Bull Arena and give a shit.
Yeah, if they did anything, it'd be Red Bull Arena at Ellen Road or something.
Yeah. They've said they're not going to call it that, but people say a lot of things that change when enough money is offered. But yeah,
that's true.
Do apologise. Let me try and get.
I mean, Clemson University Stadium is called Memorial Stadium based on basically it's a military port of their school. So the people that went and served and everything, there could be one day, 10, 15 years from now, that becomes Invesco at Memorial Stadium or something. Anything for more money, man. People will sell their soul for money. They do it in the world all the time.
That's correct. Really annoying. I can't find a way to get this. It's basically Verstappen was at Ellen Road. Oh no, that's not true. We visited him at the British Grand Prix. So that's a foul on my part. But still, is what it is.
People don't like Verstappen, do they?
I only know him by name. Don't get me wrong. Other than this photo, I couldn't have told you what he looked like. To me,
he does have a little bit of an attitude. He does get a little very entitled at times, but
the Durex Stadium, 3 rubbers on 3. I thought you could call it that because someone's getting fucked, and it's usually us. But Red for Lancashire Arena. That's the second time he's tried a Man United troll on me in the last 2 minutes. Step up the game, sir.
Work harder.
Yeah. Work harder.
Or work smarter.
Yeah. He's going to say Son's going to bring me a Man United kit. Shame. That's because it's a hard place to go to, Sam. Oh, okay. Not after we lost our first home game, though. That Blackburn game was infuriating. But still. Yeah, so... Glenn Kamara was in that photo and he's already left, so... It should be a hard place to go to, but... everyone thinks their home stadium should be a hard place to go to, and if you're not doing well, it obviously isn't. Would you say the Emirates has become a fortress?
I mean, that's what they say, but I think it's gotten better. You know, like you hear some of these real, from American perspective, seeing a lot of, collegiate, like some of these stadiums are just quiet compared to what we're used to over in the States as far as the volume. I'll argue an SEC home game is louder than anything that Europe can really produce at times. I mean, some of the games have been decibeled at 140 decibels, so, but that being said, of the top 6 clubs, I think you could argue it's one of the more quieter stadiums. And of course, there's numerous factors that go into that. Who's there, who's more rabid, like, the smaller the ground, the more the sound can stay in. Like, I'm sure Luton Stadium is pretty loud because of the way it's built. But I think it's become a little bit. I think the crowd doesn't make it hard to go there. Like, to me, like, Liverpool is absolutely a fortress at this point. Like, it's hard to go win up there. But I think the quality of Arsenal has made it a tougher spot than what it used to be. So the fans now are feeding off it because the team's good. So
I read a thing, as soon as you said about Liverpool, where someone said there were 4 matches in about 5 years where basically if Liverpool had won the match, they would have won 4 different trophies. Like, obviously including their 2 Champions League losses against Real Madrid. I think there's a Man City game. I think there's a game at Tottenham where if they'd have won those games, they'd have won the title. And I sat there and I just thought, yeah, but that's a lot of words for you still lost at home to Jesse Marsh.
That's hilarious.
Like, they went like 5 years unbeaten at home, something like that, and then Jesse Marsh beat them. Beat you. To Liverpool fans.
I want to look this up real quick, see who has the best home record the last 5 years. It's probably Man City, but still.
I can't imagine it's not. I can only think of 2 games they've lost at home in the last... 3 games they've lost at home in the last 10 years. When they lost at home to Leicester, when they lost at home to Brentford, and when they lost at home to Leeds.
But I don't think it's the fans that make that place hostile. It's that team.
No, that is the least intimidating place to go in football in terms of, like,
easily.
The fans are like going to Galatasaray is intimidating because the fans are animals and scumbags. Whereas Man City, it's a difficult place to go because they've spent fucking £2 billion on their team and it's really good.
And that all plays a portion into it. If I'm not, I mean, it's very like crowd hostility is one thing, but the minute your team gives up a goal in the first 30 seconds, well, that hostility just kind of goes, oh, well, this was fun.
I always used to think it was like a big what's the word, myth in football, like about the home advantage in terms of like the role the crowd plays in it. But lockdown proved that it's actually true to an extent because the amount of away wins significantly increased when there was no people there to cheer anyone on. Leeds, in my opinion, Leeds finished 9th because we turned up and played attacking football at grounds where they weren't being roared on by a crowd. But conversely, I think part of the reason West Ham did so well in that lockdown season was because they if they conceded a goal early, the crowd weren't then on them because there was no one
That
there.
makes sense.
I think it worked both ways. I think teams that usually get intimidated, get the crowd gets, like, for example, if things don't go well early at Leeds, the place it's awful. If we don't score in the first 10 minutes, the crowd are basically immediately turn into, we're going to lose this. Which then adds the opposite effect of home advantage, in my opinion. But
so we can make the argument here that home advantage actually impacts the home team more than it does. I mean, look at the Arsenal games. And I don't know how many we talk about which ones you watch, which you don't. If it's 1-1, the crowd gets all edgy.
Yeah.
And I do think that does feed into the actual to the home team. I don't think it affects the away team as much.
Norwegian fans have rebelled against VAR in the Norwegian Premier League by stopping recent games by throwing loads of random stuff on the pitch, like food and tennis balls. They demand the club. I found it really interesting. Slight pivot on this comment from Sam, but the notion that Forest tried to get rid of VAR and no one went for it. I found that really interesting. Like, why do you think they voted to keep it?
Because it has helped increase the accuracy of decisions. And the ones that we see and we talk about are the anomalies. There's statistics to back this up.
Yeah.
It absolutely backs it up. Because teams want the closest right decisions. Because if you get it, when we're talking about a point potentially getting relegated or not, you want some system there that can make the decision correct. Of course, we can talk about Arsenal and Newcastle. We can talk about this and that one. But I think it went from 93% accuracy to almost like 98.2 or something. It was, I have to look up the numbers, but it was definitely a massive increase. Of course, the teams are going to vote against it.
I think obviously it was motivated by Wolves and Nottingham Forest more than anything. But what I found interesting about it was the fact that, and you're right, it is more accurate, but I think they were relying on the fact that because every Monday morning in England, we have on Sky Sports News, they have a thing called Ref Watch, which is pseudo code for VAR Watch, where they basically go over the VAR decisions of the weekend. But they never go over the ones that are innocuous and are definitely right. They go over the controversial ones, which I think Wolves are basically, which usually go against Wolves. I think they wanted to rely on people remembering all the, like Liverpool. Do you remember when you got screwed over versus Tottenham? Oh, you vote, but forgetting that there's actually lots of VAR decisions that do go Liverpool's way because they tend to be the attacking team. So VAR tends to benefit the attacking teams in the context of I can't imagine anyone watching football in Scotland, to be fair, Stefan. So,
ironically, I did watch a documentary. I watched a documentary on a Scottish team last night. That's what I did for my Friday night after taking the family out for dinner and all that stuff. And it's because I got this ad on Facebook to become an owner of a Scottish football team called the Chaldean Braves. I did not invest, but I wanted to at least watch the documentary, and I thought it was pretty cool.
This is what sounds right. This is what annoys. We discuss it every week ad nauseum. The biggest thing that I say every week is I don't like how long it takes them to get the decision wrong.
Okay, but then
a lot of these decisions are subjective, Spencer, which they shouldn't be, but they turn out to be.
So I think the one thing that's going to make things better next year is you're going to have the automated VAR, the offside lines. Yeah. Like that's going to quicken a lot of stuff up. I mean, the Arsenal Newcastle
game.
Yeah. So that Arsenal Newcastle game where they tried to check 3 or 4 different things. I mean, you're going to have anomalies like that, but I think the reality is you need to be quicker. Like, I'm trying to think. There's a sport I was like baseball. I was watching baseball recently. You go to it, and if they challenge a pitch strike, they immediately have like 7 seconds later they have the ball where it should be in the zone, and they either good or not. Like the way they execute VAR is incorrect. It's not really VAR itself. Some of the decisions are poor. I think the referee should absolutely have to go to the monitor. I think
the human element of VAR is wrong.
Correct, but if you love the human error of, they missed a call and the guy was slightly offsides, then you should be okay with the human error of the refereeing as well. I think the big issue is how long it takes more than anything else. The massive delay.
Game, Chelsea won, basically where Nicholas Jackson should have scored about 13 goals and scored 3. In my opinion, the worst hat-trick I've ever seen in football. Because he played so badly for a player that scored 3 goals that they should have actually took the ball off him. The ref should have actually made a decision on the spot to go, no, you don't deserve to take this home, mate. But still, the referee didn't deserve to get his paycheck that night either, because he was like, I'm going to make you wait 27 minutes every time. But the ball was only in play for about 20 minutes of a 90-minute game. It was atrocious.
That's another issue that needs to be talked about in the game is the amount of time wasting that's allowed too. Like think about, I mean, when I watched that Uruguay, when they were fighting in the stands with Colombia, if I see Darwin Nunez flop on the ground I watched you try there and go throw hands. So apparently you're not soft, but the minute someone touches you on the back of your heel, the boogeyman got you and it just, that's what needs to be eradicated from the game. We've talked about this in the past. Like there's one weekend, like the minute the players are surrounding the ref, arguing about a call, yellow card, yellow card, yellow card. Like that's the only way to reestablish that order. And that's, again, we talked about rugby. Rugby's one of those ones where they don't go argue with the ref, but in football it's allowed. And they've allowed that culture to happen. So you need to but again, I think this is also, if you want to give the people that are making some of these poor decisions that amount of authority, they need to elevate their level of their ability to referee and actually umpire the game properly.
So for a second, I thought I was having a conversation with Joe Hendry, but then
we just changed it up for a couple seconds.
Changed it up, but no, I agree with you. But I'm going to go full tie here for a bit because. Basically, Gabriel Megalegs is my most hated footballer currently because he cheated against Leeds, and I will never forgive him because there's 2 ways. When Patrick Bamford scored and the goal got chalked off, basically Megalegs either dived or he got bundled over by Patrick Bamford. I don't know which is more embarrassing. Imagine living your life knowing you got bossed by Patrick Bamford.
I'm sure he's okay.
I'm sure his paycheck makes him comfortable with it, but it's got to be in the back of his mind. Man, I got pushed over by Patrick Bamford. I shouldn't have allowed that, even if it did mean they got done for a foul.
I think that's the culture of the game. I know where you're going with this, and I do understand the humor of it too, but it's, if a defender doesn't placate a little bit, then they're going to get called for a foul because, I mean, they're like Mo Salah is the worst for it. The minute he's in the box and he feels anything, he acts like someone just tripped at both of his legs, like he just dropped 2 feet in height.
Yep.
And it's for someone who's such a good player. I mean, it's just embarrassing to see him do it. So,
Jimmy Niella won BX.
Can we put Sam's comment up there?
Well,
I don't believe that. The last phrase. You're telling me that people didn't call Talk Sport and whine about something being offside? I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I get what I understand. The first portion there, Sam, I can roll with that. I can roll with all that stuff. But the fact that nobody complained after that, nah, not having it.
I get the sentiment of his comment. He's right. But you can celebrate a goal because they do. Every time it happens, they all celebrate the goal because it's your natural instinct to do it. You then feel silly when it turns out 4 minutes later that it's even worse when it's disallowed because of something someone else did.
Yes.
That's actually the most annoying. Like, if it turns out you are offside, you are offside. And that, like, you by rights, you should feel silly for celebrating when you knew you may well be offside. I mean, I know it's hyperbole on my part because no one always instinctively definitely knows they're offside. But the annoyance of, like, a great example of this, Leeds played at Fulham in the Premier League in March 2021. And basically, Luke Ayling scored his first Premier League goal. And he did all the celebration, like he pulls his hairband out, pretended a rocker, like plays the guitar and all this. Turned out, it got disallowed 3 minutes later because Tyler Roberts was offside when he made the cross. He was offside by like your size of your foot, but he was offside, so it got chalked off. In the moment, I'm really annoyed with it. But I was more upset for Luke Ayling because he just celebrated his first Premier League goal, and yet it weren't a goal. He then went and scored like a month later or whatever. It's not the point. Mane was the worst.
He was pretty bad at it. I mean,
Sam
there's video of, I mean, you can go back and Sadio Mane's throwing an elbow and Tierney's face, and they didn't anything about it. So, but whatever.
Yeah, but he may have been told to do it by Leeds players that Tierney was trying to fight when we got Pepe sent off.
It's possible.
That was masterful by Alioski, by the way. I don't think it gets talked about enough. How clever he was to get Pepe dead by him. Just wonderful stuff. Gabriel Megalegs eats Leeds wimps for breakfast. Not necessarily sure that's true, Sam. You used to be my friend, Sam. You're trying to talk yourself out of that. But if it's contentious, goal VAR should be employed. But it's such an obvious goal, it shouldn't be required. I always felt that, but like they're going down the NFL route of every scoring play gets reviewed, regardless.
Yeah.
To keep it equal.
The answer is to be more efficient. And that's on the Premier League and the FA to find a way to be more efficient, quicker, and more accurate. If you
decides what an obvious goal is, that's what would then become the next problem, Spencer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. That's why you have to review all, because then there'll be a claim. So they only review the Wolves goals. They only review Ipswich goals. But I can read the chat now.
Like if Liverpool scored a goal, and the ref they did check it, they'd go, how comes a similar goal happened at Old Trafford last week and they didn't check it, and they did, or whatever. You know my point. You have to have one size fits all, or everyone gets upset at some point. You're making things subjective in that situation, which is never a good idea in a sport, which is not really a sport because it ultimately it's become a business. We complained, but accepted as you and now expect VAR to be ever free, but it's a mess and often wrong. Now they actually tried to slow the goal. Yeah.
So this is the thing too. Like, so you don't get rid of the system because people don't know how to use it. Like, companies don't get rid of systems because people don't know how to use it. They usually get rid of the people and find people that know how to use the system. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to create this global product that makes all this money, you're going to have, this is it. Like Avara is always going to be in there. I'm not saying, and this is from the international fan perspective, like they want to grow the game, but they're not going to use modern technology to ensure that they get accuracy within results. Like there becomes an aspect of eventually you hurt your product by not having reviews. Like it's 2024. I mean, it becomes a point where, and I understand the NFL angle. They review every scoring play, and it is annoying, but it's like quick. And then until like the automated offsides is going to change that. You're going to see. I think you'll probably see. I guarantee by the time we have this conversation next year on this time, we'll find that referee VAR decisions took, I don't know, 25 to 30 seconds less. There'll be some sort of statistic that'll be able to back that up.
I think to some degree, eventually, what will happen? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be wrong. Is they will actually welcome these VAR chain decisions being made over a course of 2 or 3 minutes once they realise that they can actually stick an advert on during it, which is generally not done in our football compared to the National Football League. Yeah. But eventually they're going to realise that they're actually throwing away free money, which is
that's a good point.
It's very similar to why I'm not totally opposed to Ellen Road being called the Red Bull Arena, because it's free money. You're leaving money on the table by not selling the name of your stadium. Just because Leeds sell the name to the stadium doesn't mean that I have to call it the Red Bull Arena. They're not giving me the money. Premier League are probably going to think the same. Like you go, this VAR review is sponsored by Volkswagen or whatever. We're not sponsored by Volkswagen, but I mean, it can be if they want to give me a car. But still, you know what I mean.
That's actually a really good point there. Because the minute they figure out they can monetize some of these things, this VAR review is brought to you by State Farm.
Yeah. I don't even think they sponsor the replays. I could be wrong. I may have just become desensitized to it. But even when there's goal replays, like, because when I play NBA 2K24, all the replays are sponsored by something. Like you said, State Farm sponsors the assist of the game, which is always usually by me because I'm excellent at it. But still, I'm a very unselfish player, despite scoring a record of 189 points in one game, which I've since discovered upon actually watching basketball is highly disproportionate. But still, anyway. So hello to Colonel Ward. Has anyone seen Deadpool film yet? I've not watched it. I'm probably going to watch it next week. Too many kids for my liking. Would have been there for that yesterday. School's out on Thursday, if I remember rightly. Colonel, you slag. Hello, Stefano. Chris Nix is here. Hello, chaps. Or hey, chaps, sorry. I'll read it correctly. Colonel Ward says, I'm good, just not a nice week, trying to cheer himself up. Yeah, he had bad news on Thursday, I believe. Sorry to hear it. If you know, you know.
It's true.
Ellen Road to be named the Fleshlight Arena because the players are pussies and get fucked. The words of Sam Greenwood. If Fleshlight want to pay for the privilege, then I'll gladly take their money. Always around if you want to chat, Colonel. The Fleshlight Arena, is it because it's plastic and nothing like the real thing? And Colonel, mate, my sympathies. Thank you, son. I mean, I'm going to get upset at it. I mean, as I made it clear, my morals in football are quite low to a degree. Like as you said earlier about ownership in football, we've got the best owner in terms of the wealth of the owner and how they made their money. Because if you think I'm going to get upset that I'm owned by someone that sells sugary drinks compared to human rights violations, then you're sadly mistaken. I don't think that's an unfair take to have myself. But everyone gets their money from somewhere. But,
yeah, once you find out the money behind something, the more disgusted you'll potentially get. But if you just enjoy the product for what it is, yeah, you'll be all right. Like, could you imagine, Stefan, if people actually Googled what that thing is? You said the arena, they'd be disgusted. But if they don't know, they don't know.
And if they say like they paid Leeds, I don't know what the going rate is like for a stadium name, so I might be really overshooting this. Pardon the pun, but say like they do give us 100 million to put the flashlight. I thought that was not too bad myself as I did, but
it's actually very good.
If I was paying 100 million to have my product named at the stadium, like I'm giving you money for free. I would basically have a giant flashlight on every corner of the stadium.
As the corner flag.
Especially if I could get away with it at the corner flag, still even better. Like you can drop a load into the box and also at the corner flag if you. I went too far.
This blank is brought to you by blank.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I will wait for Tom's review on Deadpool. Then, as I feel he'll literally watch most films. If that's true, I will watch most films if they are dross. What if he could squeeze a movie review channel? I've considered that, but I'm already irritated at the amount of time I spend on YouTube. To be fair, when I'm actually doing it, I'm really enjoy it. But it's more in between where I'm like, you have to prepare for stuff.
The preparation is always the tough part.
Because I can't bear the thought of like doing things like not giving it 100% effort, but then it frustrates me because of the time I put into it. Never will do it. Can you get what in Tesco's? Deadpool or Fleshlight?
Wonk wonk.
I genuinely don't know what he's asking about, but still. I don't believe he doesn't know what Fleshlight is for a start, though, to be honest. That's interesting you say that, Sam, because I have absolutely no doubt that I have a photo of the KFC Yum Arena, because if they hold wrestling at it, I'm pretty sure I have it. Yeah. Sam, what did you mean to say this KFC Yum Centre? Probably have a better photo of it in dark.
Yum.
I mean, to be fair to them, it is in Kentucky, so, yeah. In Louisville, the KFC Yum Centre. How random! I just happen to have that on hand.
Home of the Louisville Cardinals.
Yeah. I don't know whether they actually did wrestling there, like when Jim Cornette was running Ohio Valley Wrestling, but still. But yeah, I only have that photo literally because they do Monday Night Raw there. They must have done it at some point in the last 3-4 months, because that's when I started documenting keeping the photos of the arena, because I used to just delete them. Then I realised, no, if they're coming back around every 6 months, I should probably save myself a lot of time. But anyway. Lose FC play their games at the Dripping Pan. Unfortunately, I do not have a photo of that. What am I thinking of? I actually thought to add my favourite picture from the of the Leeds kit. Excuse me. It was actually this one.
It's interesting the
the new
stripes
Leeds.
on the sleeves.
Sorry, what's that, Spencer?
The stripes on the sleeves are interesting. They look better than what we got for an away kit.
It's basically a recreation of the 74 to 75 away kit, to be more specific. But
do you think it'll sell out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will.
So you better ask for a Christmas present now.
Well, no, because Leeds are in the top 16 selling football kits in the world, allegedly. In terms of like merchandise, so we Adidas are prepared for this, I imagine.
I've debated on buying the away kit that Arsenal have for this season. I'm not in love with it, but once I see them playing it usually changes my mind. But that black kit we had from about 2 years ago sold out so quick. The gold cannon. It's probably one of my favorite shirts of all time.
I mean, I'll give them the credit that they knew who to put this kit on for modelling purposes. You put it on Junior Firpo if you want to sell it. So still,
I think you should get the full kit of that, dude. That would be pretty sweet.
I'd absolutely not. I'm not a full kit wanker these days.
But dude, you should do it and like sit there and play Football Manager. It'd be the greatest thing ever. No one's gonna know. And so what if Stefan makes fun of you?
I'll tell you
Who
something
cares?
about Football Manager. If I make the Champions League final, or if I end up playing at Wembley, I'll go and put on my suit jacket because you got to show the full respect for the occasion.
Listen, you've got to dress for success in all aspects of life.
Yeah,
this is well documented.
True. All right, but you can always get cheap replicas online. So Celtic won last season. I mean, they're in China. They're already pumping out replicas of that kit for about £10.
Yeah, I just don't. I have a theory on this, so I don't really care about people buying the fake ones. I just have a problem with that person charges you like it's a real one and tries to trick you that it's real. If you pay for, like, if you're guaranteed to get a replica, sure. But the person on eBay that tries to sell it for $100 and pass it off as a fake one, that's the kind of people that just, we need to bring back like public shame, and people that do that deserve public shame.
Yeah, like I don't get me wrong. I think football should be priced for everyone. But
Correct.
Me personally, I don't want to wear merch. If I'm going to pay £20 for something that's not real, I might as well pay $60 for something that is. But I appreciate there are people that have a budget and where maybe they don't necessarily have the same luxury.
And I will never judge a person that does that. I just don't want to see you get screwed over in the price on it. That's where I get irritated. Because you see it all the time on eBay, especially American stuff. They're like, oh, this is the tall tail sign, like an embroidered jersey, 100%. You can look at the sleeves. You can see it in the sleeves where they try to do like an Orioles patch, and you can see it connected because they didn't know how to do it properly. So those are the ones. If you want to wear a replica, absolutely do it. No issue. Completely. I'm never going to shame anybody. Why would you give a kid $100 kit that they're going to go out and play, at a local, no, get themselves something, whatever, but just don't get screwed in the price over it. That's where I'm at with it.
A lot of the kids wouldn't notice it's fake anyway.
Well, I know people are going to say, but the club's losing money. The club has plenty of money. All right. Let's not kid ourselves.
Premier League club gets $200 million a year just for being on television.
If your argument is like, hey, Plymouth Argyle, League One or whatever, okay, I'll listen to that argument about a low National League team if they're selling something, if they even, absolutely. But, and Stefan's right. I could go to even other sports like the NFL. If you want to get one of the real legit ones, it's $175 US. I think that's about 200 or 150 British pounds, maybe something like that. It's 1.25 or something. NHL jerseys are $300. But
Wait, what?
the only difference that I'll say about an NHL jersey is that's the team's jersey for the next 20 years. They're not changing their jerseys every 5 seconds.
Yes, I noticed this. Like, I noticed that generally the Boston Celtics generally wear the same kit or the same shirt. Basically, it's just always just a green vest. I mean,
And that's
sometimes the way it's made is different, but generally it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. The one in the 1980 team or whatever, 85 Boston Celtics, is generally definitely looks like it's a 1980s jersey compared to now. But generally now, they year to year, it's just green shirt with Boston on the front. And I imagine it's the same for New York, Chicago, however you want to put it.
and see, that's where I don't like the football culture. Is, well, hey, we wore this kit for 1 year, and now we're going to sell you another $300 or $400 worth of kits, and then next year $300 or $400 worth of kits. And look, now we're gonna do this pre-match gear with this different color scheme. Now, I mean,
do you know who football kits is? This
whose
genuinely
fault?
true. Leeds United's fault for football kits. Because Leeds United were one of the first branded football kits. They got a company called Admiral, which was a big clothing manufacturer in England at the time. And like they basically, Admiral went to Leeds, because obviously these were a big team in the 60s, 70s, whatever. Basically like, do you want us to make your football kit? Because generally in those days, all football kits were the same. The only thing that differentiated was the colour. But you didn't have, basically you wore white, red, whatever. It was absolutely, you did not get you have fancy, like, things on the side or, multiple colours and shapes or whatever. Not a thing. Until Leeds fucked football, which ultimately fucked everyone's wallets.
I think what scared me, and so the NFL does have rules set in place that your home jersey shall be your jersey when you submit a home scheme. From my understanding, that is your scheme is locked in for 5 years. You are not allowed to change it. And then if you want to wear alternate jerseys, so you've got your home, you got your away. They have this thing called Color Rush, what they brought in that would, for Thursday night games and all that stuff. And then they could wear like a throwback, but you're only allowed to wear the throwback like 1 or 2 games a year. Because they want, and I think this comes down from a remembrance mentality, right? If I see you in the same shirt constantly, then I remember who you are. So, like, for us, it's probably more trying to just structure and not turn it into some Mickey Mouse thing that I feel that football can kind of get to be at sometimes. Like, we're going to, like the one Leeds shirt you wear that looks like, and Arsenal had the same shirt. I think it's probably around the same time frame, the tie-dye, right? We've got a tie-dye version of that, was, I think, a pre-match shirt. I mean, some of the stuff is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but there's a point where I feel like you're screwing your fans because you're just constantly like, here, go on this U.S. pre-tour, and and I didn't go to any of the games that came to America this year, and it's really more because I went last year. And of course, the argument is like, well, what's it cost to fly to England? Okay, cool, but I mean, just some of it just feels like they just want you to just continue, like, here, swipe your credit card. Like, culture is about debt and making sure people stay in debt. And it's just, we don't teach about debt and the dangers of outspending what you bring in. And like, it's, football teams, everybody wants your dollar, like Gary earlier. Oh, you have a premium Twitter account to stream. Do I though? Like, there's other software out there, OBS and things you can do for free that if you know how to use it, you can use it. But I'm not going to get in a rant on this one, but definitely don't like the culture of just constantly changing the shirts every 10 seconds. And then look at that Arsenal green kit last year, Tom. I think they wore it 6 games. That's insane. $100 for a ticket. Thank you. $100 for a kit you wore 6 times. It's just criminal.
I will give my team the due that we do wear the away kit, in the sense that we wear it probably far more than you'd expect. We had a lot of good games in that kit. The thing with football kits is that most football kits are awful. until you win games in them, and then they become associated with the memory of winning. For example, Leeds would in our first year back in the Premier League, we had 3 kits. We had the obviously white home, that doesn't change. I mean, the designs change all the time, but the scheme generally is the same. We had an away kit which was based off randomly on 1995 away kit, which was green and blue stripes. It was an awful kit, and it was like, if you were going to bring back an awful kit, it wouldn't have been that one. And then we had this burgundy one, which I personally have, because it's now associated with the memory of us winning at Man City, winning at Everton, winning at Burnley, big whip 4-0 at Burnley. But we beat Man City in that shirt, which obviously ain't going to happen very often in any kit. But it's associated, you have great memories involved with these with specific kits.
Do you know, so that one Arsenal had that looked like a topography one? I think I own 3 of those. But also me and Holly went to go watch that game in DC together. So there's a little bit of like, we saw that together, if that makes sense. So for me, like, that kid is, even though it's kind of, some people find it hideous, there is memories of, me and my wife going to that game. So, if I could find another cheap one, I probably would get it, which is what it is.
Yep. When Man United became a marketing machine, they even came up with, I have no way of, it's going to be Sir Alex Ferguson believed that their gold sort of trim, blue and white stripes, was because they never played well in it. They always lost when they wore it. And when I say always lost, I'm basically, this is the Man United team that won the title for like 2-3 years running. So they lost probably like 3 games in it. No, tell a lie. It was they had a grey shirt. They had a grey kit. And because they were losing in it 3-0 at Southampton at half time, they changed into the blue and white stripes.
Never wore it again after that too.
Yeah, which was like unheard of, like changing a kit. I did not say a commemorative shirt for winning at Burnley. I said I just remember that we wore it when we won at Burnley.
But that's the thing, though. Like, this is the thing about sport, and especially when it comes to football, example, like, you have things that remember you and iconic kits and everything. Like, I'm sure if Jose was still around, and BX probably checked out of his hotel, but he's a guy that, there's probably some Arsenal kits from the 90s that he's got his hand on, or bought some of the old ones that are just, there's memories from that stuff, like shirts Henry wore, Bergkamp. Everybody has some sort of, like, even some of the older fans remember Tony Adams. Like, for me, I've only been following Arsenal for the last 8 years. So, I think of some of the ones, like, there's one of, I think, Jack Wilshere. There's one that when he destroyed Barcelona, like, that shirt's special to me in my mind, like, going back and watching some of that stuff. So I just think the problem is, and maybe that's where the Americans have it right. We don't change our jerseys every 10 seconds. There's a lot of things you can gig American sports
but you
for.
financially compensate for that, though, because your shirt costs 3 times the price of an English one to compensate the fact of, because it's not going to change.
But think about this, though, Tom. I bought a Nathan McKinnon hockey jersey. Now, granted, there's different levels. So 300 is like legit with the strap and all that crap. I think I bought one on Fanatics for $140, and it was McKinnon. It was whatever. But I won't need to change. I won't need to buy another McKinnon ever, because that's going to be there forever. That particular style. So yeah, there is a little bit more exuberant price. But I mean, I'll give you a case example. I've been looking for an Orioles black jersey, which is it's the one they wear, I want to say, most night games, where it just says Orioles across it. They're not selling it right now. So I'm sure I'd have to go to actually Baltimore in the stadium and get one. But yeah,
I'll tell you my irrational football kit opinion, where I'm probably wrong, but I strongly feel that if you are above the age of 16, I think if you're not a child, you should not have the name of a male football player on the back of your shirt.
I disagree.
I absolutely don't. I just don't. I don't see. I think it should just be your own name or no name.
I have names of other people. I'm not gonna lie.
There you
Awkward
go.
moment. It's an awkward moment. Oh,
No,
thanks,
fine.
Holly.
I acknowledge it's an irrational opinion. I'm sure very few people agree with me on it, but it's one I do hold.
I do. Can you? Why do you hold that? Is it because it feels very? Because I know I've heard some of the not you, but I've heard macho men be like, "Never have another man's name on my back," and I'm like,
"Oh no, I know because I identify it. Like for example, I have Yeboah on the back of one of my 1995 league shirts because I identify like he was my first footballing hero when I got in football for Leeds because he scored amazing football goals and things like this, and no, absolutely not. Like, well, I don't think it's gay. I just think, why do you want the name? Why, as a grown man, do you want Mo Salah's name on the back of your shirt? It's your shirt. You paid for it. Mo Salah didn't pay for it.
That's the thing, though. Like, I do think some people, like the first thing you said, like, I do think some people will be like, there's this male insecurity. It's like, I'm not going to really, like, I know because I can sit there and college football's prime example of this. I'd never wear a jersey to a game. I wear a polo because I was at the fraternity. And it's like, I don't care either way. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to wear the name of some player, I get it. Cool. But you're not telling people to not do it. That's not the argument we're having here.
No,
it's just you don't prefer it.
There's people I find it odd. But there's a lot of things I find odd that people just do. And they're going to do regardless anyway.
I think the greatest thing is someone shows up to watch a game in the shorts and the top. That's the best.
Full kit wanker is incredible.
Like, I would never do that.
it's I find the logic fast. That definitely is I want to know what the logic is behind. Again, you pay for it, you do it.
Listen, you get the shorts, you get the top, and you're like, Coach, man, if you need somebody, I got you, dog. I could hop in here and give you about 4 minutes before I keel over and die.
Yeah, like I say, I acknowledge that most people will think I'm wrong, and they're fine to do that. But I don't understand it behind like a childlike wonder, because you all get attached to players, but a lot of the time, us as adults, we know that these players are not going to be with our club forever, but that shirt is forever.
That is true. Like, I have a Kieran Tierney shirt upstairs.
That's more my logic behind it.
Yeah.
Like, as a child, the fact it never occurred to me at 10 years old that Tony Yeboah was going to leave Leeds in 1997. That never really occurred to me. But as a grown adult, I can have the knowledge that football, nothing lasts forever in sport or football. Spencer says, Holly, why is there underwear inside these shorts?
Oh yeah, it's on.
Typing that on the toilet. Hey, we all do our best texting on the toilet.
That absolutely is some of the best reading you get. Yeah.
I've never not set up a full Nelson on the toilet. I was gonna let you know that. Anyway,
I will tell you this. I have bought. Go ahead. No, read it. Well, I can come back to it. I got it. Go ahead.
Because people like the player and like having a name. No, this is what I'm saying. That I know there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just my belief that I don't understand why people do it beyond a certain age.
I thought it was weird putting your own name on the back of a shirt because it feels almost like I've got an Arsenal name with my back on it.
Imagining yourself as a player.
Yeah.
Or it's your shirt.
Like, it's hard for me to wear that.
If I lost it, he'll know to give it back to me.
That is true, though. That is true. I do have an Arsenal shirt that says 76 on the back, and it says Scroggins on the back. So, yeah.
Again, there's loads of ways to go about these sort of things. I don't get it, but there's a lot of things I don't get. I don't get why Tony Turner does 98% of the things he does. but he doesn't.
Well, the thing I was going to tell you, so we talked about like buying a shirt of someone that doesn't belong on the team anymore. I do remember when I was in my more frugal days, you know, when I mean frugal, like 18 years old and not doesn't have a pot to piss in. If a player left the Broncos, I would absolutely go buy the shirt because they would sell the jersey for $14, trying to get rid of it. So I have a Tatum Bell. I no longer have it because I was wearing a medium shirt at that time. I think I got it for $14. It was pretty cool. So that's really weird. But I mean, the guy was trash. He played for like 2 years for the Broncos, but for $14, the guy that was making $10 an hour, yeah, I'll take that.
I'll go back to Stefan's comment about Leeds Burnley replica shirt. So obviously, when he said the commemorative shirt that we brought out because we won 4-0 at Burnley, which is obviously not true, but it was part of my memory of that Leeds team being good because obviously winning at Burnley 4-0 is still a good result. Winning in a relegation battle, great. We weren't in a relegation battle, but we probably could have been. Anyway.
But
at least unlike a certain team in North London, we don't bring out a DVD anytime we beat a rival club, which is the perception of Tottenham. If they beat Chelsea, they bring out a DVD of the match. In the last decade, that was definitely the perception of that club.
I'll tell you what.
Hello, Alonso.
I mean, there was a time where Arsenal would kill for 4-0 win at Burnley. But
yeah, this is the thing. Stefan would take a 4-0 win at Burnley every day of the week. But my actual favourite bit of merch for Leeds, like you'll find this really silly. Obviously, Ellie the Ellie Road Elephant mascot stuff or whatever, which was our mascot before we changed it. Anyway, we don't have a Gunnosaurus. It was when you did your club season review, and it used to be big business in England. Like you'd sell it on VHS to get a bit. Again, it's free money. You already own the footage. You have the footage. If you have a particularly good season, who's not going to want to commemorate it by rewatching or whatever? Obviously, now you just go on YouTube. But there was a time where football was not easily accessible. Generally speaking, Holly, if I go to a Leeds game, I wear my Leeds kit. If I'm in, but I wore my Leeds kit when I went to the Emirates for a Carabao Cup game. But it was early round, so I suspected I'd mainly be surrounded by children and families, which turned out to be the case. So I didn't feel particularly unsafe wearing that. Yeah. But anyway, so obviously that moved on to DVD, where like you release DVD of your season. Obviously, Leeds had financial problems in the mid 2000s, which contributed to our relegation, of course, the original Leeds relegation from the Premier League, and basically our club got bought by Ken Bates, who used to own Chelsea, and then sold Chelsea to Abramovich. So he made a tidy sum of profit on that one. And my favourite bit of merch, as I was saying, was that particular season review DVD of our first year in the Championship. The first time. And at the end of the DVD, it was on VHS. Definitely on VHS, because I remember they interviewed him at the end, the owner or the chairman. And he speak to the camera and he's like, "Thank you for buying this." And he went, "Can you please, we need the money. Can you please encourage other people to buy it too?" I was like, fucking hell. How much money don't we have? I watched that on YouTube, by the way, so I didn't pay for it.
So the you can find those year in reviews on YouTube, or even back then, right? And to me, like, I'm not a big movie guy at times. I'll go watch a few movies occasionally, but I like watching shit like that on YouTube. I like to go back, especially the NFL used to release back in the day. Sports Illustrated did like 30-minute team year in review, and I think you could buy the the VHS, and they would send you an SI like windbreaker. Like a lot of that stuff is cool though, in my opinion. One thing I used to really like to, and especially if I go to college sports games, I'll if a team has like a souvenir season cup, I always try to get one. And I had a Maryland one. Holly threw that away. I had a Wake Forest. I had a Duke. I had a Carolina Tar Heels. I don't have a state one, but I have from different places I've gone and watched games. I usually try to get a souvenir cup. So it's always.
Well, like as you say, a year-old newspaper is interesting. A day-old newspaper is out of date.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't display the souvenir cups, but I mean, you will see me occasionally have just one. I don't really support the team, but it's just cool to have. That's the only way. Like, it's the cheapest way to keep some sort of commemorative that I've been somewhere. So, but the Maryland one she threw away. So,
if I remember rightly, one of the first things I did during the original lockdown was go on YouTube and watch old football stuff. I basically watched like 10 seasons of these, like, while sitting there thinking, please restart the season so we can try and get promoted, which we did. But
nostalgia is a funny thing, and we can go back to the beginning of the show when Gary was talking about Roger Moore. That was 100% nostalgia for him. Roger Moore has this, and there's some that'll go to the Roger Moore Bond films and find them not as good as some of the modern stuff, which I really like. For me, when trying to remember his name, when the most recent one,
Daniel Craig.
When Daniel Craig took over, I was not a huge fan, but the Bond films, it built on me because they kept connecting the stories, and the stories kept connecting. I think the difference between the Roger Moore Bond and then this most recent one is the story built on each other. And I think that's, in the 70s, you could release a Bond film and have it kind of sit on its own. You'd still have the Felix storyline and some stuff here and there, but I think that's what made this Daniel Craig one almost my favorite, just because A, it was a little bit dark, and then B, the story just kept on connecting. Well, if you saw one film, you had to see the next.
Yeah, there's no point in watching No Time to Die if you've not seen Casino Royale or Spectre. There's no point in seeing Spectre if you've not seen Skyfall, for example.
Correct.
Like, it's a film series, definition on series. Whereas you can pick any Roger Moore movie and just watch it. And there's the continuity. To say the continuity is loose is being generous. Ollie asked question, do I hate Sunderland? No, I pity them, if anything, because at the end of the day, they still wake up tomorrow, open their eyes, and they're still Sunderland. So, if anything, I feel sorry for them. Despite, I know she's asking, do I hate them because they won the 1973 FA Cup final? I got over it, despite not being born at the time.
She can't remember what happened in 2013. What are you talking about?
Why would she ask about Sunderland if it was not for that?
If I keep it up, I'm going to get murdered on air. So
Holly denies the charge, which I believe is this charge. No, I didn't. Never saw it. And nostalgia always been fashion. Connery released. Yeah, you're right. He did release his own Bond film. Well, what was it? It went up against Octopussy. They released in the same year, if I remember rightly, and his movie got absolutely destroyed by Octopussy because obviously the perception was this ain't a real Bond. It's got the guy who used to be Bond, but this ain't Bond. That is Bond, or whatever order.
What was the name of that movie, though?
Never Say Never Again. Basically a remake of Thunderball. basically a remake of a movie he was also in and did better in.
In Like Flint is another movie that seems like a spoof off of Bond.
So many Bond parodies. I mean, I suppose the biggest Bond parody movie would be Austin Powers, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Roger felt more like comedies, documentary. I did see that. I thought it was a fascinating documentary, that Sunderland one, because Sunderland just got relegated. Netflix cameras rolled up like, we want to try this new thing. You're probably going to get promoted, so we'll film you winning every week, and we'll follow the club. In fact, the opposite happened. They got relegated. I bet Netflix could not believe their luck.
It is a good series. You know, like the one I was watching yesterday. I think the perception is like, you know, the top 6, like those documentaries they're interesting, right? But they don't really show the hardship that some of the other ones do. And, you know, I think there is something to be said about the championship or even the lower levels. Like, the money's not there. Everybody's overspending. Like, I remember, and I'm going to get myself in trouble. Who cares? I remember some people complaining about Reading getting rid of their women's football team. Well, they can barely field their men's football team. Like, what do you want to do? Just go under completely?
Like, why are they going to fund a women's football team when they literally losing points because of the men's side of the business is also failing?
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying you don't need women's football, but you can't expect a football club to just continue to operate when they're losing money hand over fist. Like, it's just not sustainable. It's basic business.
The fact of the matter is, despite what society says, men's football subsidizes women's football. But you need the men's side of football to be making money in order to essentially give it away to the women's side of the game. But if your men's side isn't making any money, there's nothing to give. So, yeah, it's tragic and it's sad that it came to that. But it came to that. And I don't know what people expected to happen.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. And don't get me wrong. It is what it is, but this is life, man. Like, things cost money. Welcome to life. I sounded very callous there, but it's just true. And then I saw people get upset about Man United. Never mind. I'm just getting myself trouble.
I'm good.
No.
Go on your soapbox. Come on.
Oh, and that they moved the women's team for the men's team to get while they're doing remodeling. Who's the moneymaker? In any company in the world, the moneymaker division gets all the benefits. Period.
True.
So, I don't know, man. I just don't know what people expect. Like I said, I'm all for the sports, but you have to understand, like, this isn't. They're just not paying. They're not just playing with monopoly money. They may be spending monopoly money, but things have a cost, and you know. I mean, the Sunderland thing, for example, like, kept that. Look how big that stadium is. That stadium is huge for a League One team. But I'm sure Blackpool is the same way. Like, we can go and pick teams that were great in the 90s and up in the Premier League. And now look where they are now in waffling in League One and Championship.
There's big clubs all through the English football pyramid.
100%.
But the reason they are where they are is because they missed the boat. Like, in my opinion, Leeds United would not be in the position we are currently in had we basically not been relegated before the Premier League financial boom occurred, where like the TV deal went from like 5 million a year to 200 million a year. That would have erased every financial problem we had immediately. And we would not be where we were for 16 years. But we missed the boat, and that's the problem. Like, Brentford are where they are because their recruitment's good at the right time, but they've still now got 200 million that they usually wouldn't have.
Well, let's be honest. We had a kit conversation earlier. So to me, the business of this also isn't just the clubs that are trying to make money off the shirts. It's the shirt sponsor itself. If Adidas is giving you X amount of millions of dollars a year to be on your shirt, they want to get a return on investment. So what they're doing is they're also like, well, we should do a new shirt every year. So this is probably more the shirts being constantly released is not really more the club, but more of the actual kit providers themselves trying to regenerate the revenue from the investment. If I'm giving you a yearly investment, I need to get some ROI on this. And if everybody's got last year's shirt, they're not going to go buy it again unless a new player shows up. But this is the ugly. Well, this is part of staying afloat, right? You know, if Reading were up in the Premier League, I'm sure the women's team would be doing excellent, but they're not up in the Premier League. So this is the ugly side of it.
I suppose what makes it more tragic is the fact they did spend a few years in the Premier League and they squandered it. I suppose that's what makes it more terrifying for me personally, is because I know my team can easily become Reading in this situation. Because the more if you have a window, a few years where if you do not get out of the Championship, you become a team that progressively gets worse in the Championship, which is what happened to Reading. And then you end up becoming you become too big for League One, and then all of a sudden you're not too big for League One because like Sunderland, what did it take them 3-4 years to get out of League One? But eventually it would have hit a point where their chairman would have been like, well, we're going nowhere, so why am I funding this? And then you eventually go backwards and backwards. But still,
and that's where that ugliness, the discussion about franchising, that's where that starts to rear its ugly head. Because rich men don't want to lose money, and women, they don't want to lose money. They're not just going to do things out of the goodness of their heart. And that's
the irony of football, though, is if you want to have a lot of money, don't become a football owner. Because only one team can win. Ultimately, only 4 can get the Champions League spots. And the riches that come with it. And even then, so I will bring you in, even then, a football team eventually needs to then spend money to maintain that success. So generally, there is no profit in football ownership, especially in the modern game with how much money things cost. I just want to say, Holly said, "Got lots of money in it." Sam Greenwood also said, "Spencer is right. Used to work for a company. Sales department got the great holiday in France. The IT support got their BBQ even in a local restaurant. I know what I'd have preferred, and it's probably not what you think because I love barbecue and I love not having to go too far from my house." So,
to France. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yes, gentlemen. Hello, Brownie. Also, we've got another yes, gentleman. Alonso. It's Lonnie. It's Mr. Is that link for the trip or is that link for the wrestling? Why don't you click it and find out?
Hi, Tom.
What's going on,
How you doing, Alonso? How's your mouth?
It's going all right. Yes, just still a little bit painful, but whatever.
Because he had surgery, I won't say anything sexual about his mouth. Anyway, sorry, what? Anyway, how you doing, Alonso?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, just woke up a bit late again today, so yeah, just looking forward to talking with you guys about the stuff that's happening and today's SummerSlam, I guess precursor to next weekend. So.
Well, I put to apologise in advance, Alonso, because it seems that Mr. Tony requested a SummerSlam watch along tonight without telling me that Arsenal also played. So,
Oh, no problem.
Because that's Tony. Anyway, that's gonna be a new thing. That's Tony. Anyway, Brownie being the genius that he is, I actually do agree with him. Why about Wrexham long term? These owners sell it. It's really plastic valuation on it at the moment because the new owner wouldn't have the attraction, which would they'd lose Disney, In England, their show airs on Disney, and I think in England it's in America it's FX. Could be wrong, or Hulu, or whatever it is. Here it's Disney.
Yeah, Hulu, but FX, yeah.
Yeah.
I think because sorry, Tom. I think because Disney, here in the States, I don't know if you have it, Spencer, but we have a package where you get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus all in one package. So,
if that truly was the case, Stefan, your team wouldn't be in the Premier League.
Well, here's the thing about. I was thinking about when you were talking about the championship and the, you keep shrinking. It almost feels like the Brighton model is the correct model, right? Where you spend tons of money on scouting, get the most, like that seems like to me like the way to do it. Go get the best scouts, go find the talent, bring them into your country, and you build your way up and you kind of sustain yourself that way instead of like I think the other model is like, we're in the championship, let's buy this Premier League player, get this guy on a loan deal. You need those players, but I think that's why the Brighton story to me is pretty impressive, because they've been kind of able to just kind of, basically go through a youth program and maintain their Premier League status.
The thing you're leaving out of the Brighton story is the most important part, which is basically Brighton would be in a lot of trouble if they were not owned by their chairman is a Brighton supporter, and basically he gives them loads of money, which he is not on, which is basically not basic. He is writing off so much debt. He has wasted so much money on Brighton, and it could be argued, was it a waste? He doesn't feel it's a waste because he wanted his team to be in the Premier League, so he paid for that. But basically, any other chairman would want their investment back, would want their money back upon leaving the club, which is evidently going to not be the case when he actually sells it.
So when you bring up that point, and that's a good point, do you not think that you could make the same argument with the Qataris and Man City, where at the end of the day, they're not really getting a monetary return on investment, but we got the World Cup, we've got our image is looking good with this club, and all these different things that aren't monetarily involved that they couldn't get without having these. That's why Saudi goes and gets into the golf and gets into this other stuff, because it's about sport washing and but that is another aspect of it. Yes, the scouting, but also having an owner that cares. So it is interesting, the economics.
Investing, but when I suppose what annoys me about the Brighton discourse is when people act like comparatively he spent a little money in terms of like transfer fees and stuff like that. But the big picture is basically he has spent money that is unsustainable for someone that actually wants to run it like a business. They'd go out of business because they wouldn't be able to afford to repay him when he fucked off. Which he will, because he will sell the club for a lot of money, but it will be contingent on them not having to pay him back the money he's already put in. Hello, Taib Hussein, who's turned up. But where's Bargav as well, who wanted a Netflix discussion? Where are you hiding, Bargav?
Yeah, he didn't show up.
I don't know why I've said that with Taib Hussein. They're two different human beings. So I don't know why I'm acting like, Taib's here, so I'll start talking about Bargav. It's not fair. I apologise, Bargav. But I'm not going to apologise for calling you a teapot.
There is the economics of sport are very interesting, because I think there's this expectation from fans. Just spend the money, just spend the money, just spend the money. And it's a little bit more complicated than that, I think. Like you said, the Premier League clubs are getting $200 million. Okay.
That's the minimum.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think that's the money I get from Sky TV. That's not including the foreign, not basically America would be paying probably even more TV rights.
Yeah.
Well, so talking about TV rights, I saw yesterday that CBS has paid money to have all the EFL games on their networks like CBS and CBS Sports Network and Paramount Plus, so that they can have all the English games, FA Cup, League Cup. So that's pretty huge for new fans of the for who are American watching the British leagues. Now,
What
granted,
was the channel again, Alonso?
CBS.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry
Am I
about that.
right
Carry on.
So
thinking that?
so they're all going to be
Go on.
on Paramount Plus, I think, as far as streaming goes. But I remember, if you guys remember, Spencer, here in the States, all the championship games were on ESPN Plus. So that's pretty huge if you want to be a fan of the lower league teams, which is not a problem because I think there's a lot of history there with, especially if you're a Wrexham fan now, since Ryan Reynolds and um, McInerney have invested a lot of money into Wrexham, and then you have Leeds in the championship. So there's a lot of good things happening with that deal, in my opinion. A lot of people don't have access to ESPN Plus, so it's just adds another dynamic to broader horizons with trying to get Americans to watch more English football than just the Premier League.
So I'm looking for the answer to a question, Stefan.
One of my good friends is a Bradford City supporter, so he'll be happy about that deal because you can't always get access to like League One and League Two here in the States.
Right. So to answer your question, Stefan, Roman paid in 2003 $140 million to Ken Bates, who then proceeded to buy Leeds United for £1, which he because Ken Bates also bought Chelsea for £1, sold it for $140 million to Roman, but he did take on $80 million in debt, of course, but obviously for Roman, that's nothing. It became worth $2.4 million by April 2021, and he spent $2 billion on player signings over his tenure and $90 million on hiring and firing managers. Wrexham are going to owe their owners money, according to Brownie. I have no reason to say this isn't true, because Brownie's more in the know on these kind of things than I am. I may have called him a teapot. I may have done that. Peanut salt here, yeah, 140 million, which again for him is peanuts. The Mayflower came from England. What's that? Americans trace their family tree to the Mayflower.
Because you also got to figure you got Jamestown too as well, Sam. So there's different ships that came at different times. But you can sign up for Ancestry.com and find out. They're running a special, Sam.
Yeah, but doesn't everyone descend from Lord Greenwood in some way or another?
He'll say that.
He wants to know where he descended from, though. You know what I'm saying?
I think are we going to get a new series of Roots starring, but from the perspective of the other side, let's just say, where we basically find out all the people that Lord Greenwood sired.
So this is what we could do. We could do, so we have the Saturday road trip, the trip on Monday, and then Thursday on Gary's channel, Ancestry.com with Sam Greenwood or Lauren Greenwood. It starts before the Full Nelson podcast. So 4 to 5, you could have AncestryHistory.com with him. And then you pivot over to the Full Nelson podcast. And once the Full Nelson podcast, you can go to Arsenal Fan Circle at 8 o'clock. This is perfect.
In hindsight, I feel bad. The Arsenal Fan Circle sort of the Full Nelson podcast sort of like falls into the time of the Arsenal Fan Circle, which I thought starting it like 3 hours before that would actually like not be a problem. But
there's only one reason why it goes late, Tom, and you know that reason.
Yeah, let's just
we're not talking about it.
I'm not going to call I'm not going to call him out by name, but let's just say his name rhymes with Boney Burner.
He's a famous tiger on top of a Frosty Flakes cereal box.
Does it also go by a certain comrade?
He may have a Russian alter ego. Hey, I did 5 wrestling shows in about 3-hour time period on Thursday. I was quite impressed. Lord Greenman must be terribly pissed off. Oh look, Stefan turning anything into Tories. Imagine my shock.
Well, we made it an hour and 49 minutes before that happened. I'm actually really impressed today. So
yeah.
Rent free.
Paul Nelson only lasts 5 hours. Paul Nelson's too short.
But if Tom's Paul Nelson, I butchered that joke. But anyway, if it lasts more than 5 hours, go see your doctor. Too soon?
I was going to say, according to Stan's AI machine, it's the Fool's Nelson.
Where Tony Turner is very elevated, and Stan has great impressions.
Which he never does on the show, by the way.
And Russ is very level-headed. Did you know Russ was level-headed?
Stan must have been fucking elevated when he made it. Because he has sent me other versions of it, by the way. I've not watched them yet, but he has. I may even debut them tonight. Sorry, what's that, Spencer?
It was quality content from Stan, a.k.a. the AI machine.
Yeah. He was like, Mr. Wrestling Impression. I was like, Mr. AI.
I think he meant like Vince McMahon's impressions.
Yeah, because he's got Vince McMahon's head on a stick, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry for taking so long. My apologies. Lord Greenwood had his way with Suella and took Sushi. Do you mean Rishi's buddy? Or has he got a Japanese cousin named Sushi? Anyway, Spencer loves the anti-American wind-ups on the internet. Can you imagine Suella's ugly mug going down on you? It sounds like you have. They hates us because they ain't us.
The interview.
Yeah.
Anytime you can get a good interview reference in there, you do it.
That was the film, the interview with Kim Jong-un. Is that what you're talking about? But my thing with that movie is that I've never seen a movie more overhyped but be so average / not match the hype because of the PlayStation Network fallout with the the hacking and all that. It promoted the movie, right? Massively. It's a fine movie. Like I'm not slagging off the movie, but it's quite obviously not a movie that matches the hype that worldwide that it got over the hacking. I watched it and I was like, I laughed at some of it. I was like, yeah, this movie's all right. It's all right.
It's exactly what you'd expect a Seth Rogen and James Franco movie to be, though. Like,
yes,
a little bit of slapstick, definitely raunchy humor. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I like Seth Rogen and him together. I think they do a good job, but I probably wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for the hack. If we're going to be honest.
Yeah, it's the movie equivalent of it. I'll equate it to football. Let's say women's football. It's the movie equivalent of Alicia Lehman. I've never seen a football player where the talent plus what the player looks like has the largest disparity I've ever seen. She's a very good-looking woman, bang average of football. Solid, the most solid of citizens.
Yes.
Rarely has a citizen been more solid than Alicia Lehman. But if she was as good at football as she actually looked aesthetically, she would be better than Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi combined.
And to be fair, everybody knows this. She's probably a better footballer than all three of us sitting on this panel right now. And that's to be given. But
she should be. That's what she's been paid to be. Yeah. I'm not being paid to be better at football than Alicia Lehman.
Nope.
So that's not even a claim that I'm making. She would run rings around me in a football pitch because she's paid to play it. I'm not paid to train and become good at football. So that's fair of Spencer. Let's get that out of the way. The people who landed and established Jamestown were all slags. Fishy Sunak, from there. Stefan, leave Suella alone. She's a babe. Suella and Pretty in a threesome. I have a naughty liking for Suella. I bet she's more filthy than depraved sailor. Fucking hell, I'll mention her and Chris magically appears. Chris is the Joe Hendry of politics. Say his name and he appears. We believe in Chris Nix. Sushi was Rishi's Japanese foster brother. Aha, I have a Tory alert on my phone. I have a Tory alert in my mind. Stefan is Tory obsessed, to say. Alicia is decent, to be honest. I won't mention them anymore, Sam. That's a lie. Lie to yourself all you want, but
Rent free, Stefan. They live rent free in your head. That's what it appears, at least from the comments. But that's okay. We all have our boogeymen.
You won the election, Stefan, and you're still talking about them.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think that's just a fair comment to make.
Well, that's how things work in 2024, Tom. You complain about the other side, and when you get in control, you do nothing. And then you lose, and you complain about the other side again. That's what happens. Nobody fixes anything.
In general, yeah.
Nothing ever gets fixed.
Paid. Yep. Both sides get paid. They end up laughing at everyone else. And, yeah. Boris Johnson and, what's his name? The current Prime Minister, or Starmer, all probably had a nice little knees up in Downing Street. He's like, are you enjoying this cognac or whatever?
They're probably in the same WhatsApp group together as well. So,
yeah. 1 second. Get to your comments, Sam, because I want to know the answer to this too. My mate's got a pretty Patel mug for my birthday. Even my Tory town booted them out. And Sam, the question we all want to know the answer for. I'm waiting for Alonso's take on the macroeconomic forecast for Polynesia.
Unfortunately, Sam, I don't have that information on me today. Though I know it's not good. So speaking of Seth Rogen and what's the guy's name?
James Franco.
You guys ever see that movie Pineapple Express?
I've never seen it.
Oh man, it's hilarious. At least to me, it was, and like it was like typical, that's how good they work together, and they come up with some more stuff too. But it's like they're all friends, it seems like, and it's kind of cool, I guess. Anyway, so Tom, what's the worst time you can watch tonight?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Has anyone wondered? That's the background. It's Dwayne Johnson, looking all serious and stoic.
Right before he loses it to Brock.
Spoilers.
I mean, yeah. It's 20 years, you know what I mean? Like
22 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there on Wikipedia. But yeah.
So did Tony pick this one?
We'll be watching. Well, Tony actually said 2002 or 2013. I'm sorry, that's a lie. He said 2002 or 2011. And I knew what he wanted 2011 because it's when Punk wins the belt and then loses it 2 minutes later via cash-in.
Yeah, by Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, so I was like, nope. We'll do the other one you suggested. Luke Littler, son of Adolf Littler. The mug that he got had a picture of Michael Owen, Priti Patel, and Luke Littler. The person making it must have been thinking, "What the fuck?" In 20 years' time, you'll be thinking, "What the fuck?" You'll be thinking, "What the fuck was on?" When I was given that. Anyway, yeah. But the main reason I want to watch it is just for the first 10 minutes because we got Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio in one of my favourite wrestling matches ever. It's really good. I was just better than watching Phil lose. But anyway,
is it though? Because Kevin Nash comes in and power bombs him, and then
it's great. It's great, but I
may or may not have gone and watched a little of it when you mentioned the two. I went and go watch the one you weren't going to watch in case I was around tonight, which I might not be. But either way, I wanted to see how that one ended.
It's there's a
lot of controversy in that one now.
Yeah,
because you've got Cena with his leg on the rope, Triple H misses it, and then Kevin Nash comes in, power bombs him, and then Alberto Del Rio comes in, and that's it.
Oh, that final 10 minutes, that final 5 minutes of the show is absolutely wild.
It really is.
2013?
2011. 2013 is actually the one where you get... I'm surprised Tony didn't... I actually did tell Tony, I would have actually picked 2013 if I was you, because you get Phil versus Brock Lesnar. And, well...
Oh, yeah.
Phil ain't beating Brock Lesnar. I'm surprised he didn't want to see Phil get thrown around by a giant lump of ham with arms and legs. But
Phil lives rent-free in Tony's head, like rent-free. Like he should be charging him for that.
It's borderline absurd.
It's really weird. I'm surprised he didn't buy the actual WWE pack for CM Punk and just beat him up constantly. Go ahead.
It's funny you say that, especially because back in the day I had my buddy doll, and I would always wrestle him and pretend he was Andre the Giant back in the day. Well, that's what Tony did with CM Punk. Buy one of those My Buddy dolls, pretend to CM Punk, and just buy this time every time he gets.
I'll go through the rest of the card, so because I doubt Greenwood will be awake to due to the timings to actually. So obviously, no problem, Spencer. Obviously, we'll make it. We'll be getting out of here soon. Who'd will Phil Mitchell versus Roman Reigns? That's a real difficult one because obviously Roman's Roman. So obviously, Rey Mysterio will open with Kurt Angle. We get Y2J Chris Jericho versus Ric Flair. Yeah, Ric Flair even back then.
Is that a good match on that one?
Not great.
Okay.
You get Christian and Lance Storm versus Booker T and Goldust, the un-Americans, the Canadian duo. Obviously Phil Mitchell called in Stefan. Chris Benoit, murder alert, versus Rob Van Dam. Do it.
Rob Van Dam.
Why do you think they called him Rob Van Dam? It's because he could actually be Jean-Claude's body double.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild how much he looks like him, to be fair. The Undertaker versus Test. In a battle of who can do the same pose the best. Sorry, what's that?
This is a test.
Yeah, test. This is a test. Guys, whoever can fold their arms and look the most mean is the winner here, clearly.
This was that American Badass era for The Undertaker, which is a really weird era, if you want to be honest.
Yeah, it's not as good as people remember it.
Well, it's because he was like a heel, then he wasn't a heel, then he was a heel.
I actually think The Undertaker is not great in this era. but Test gets a good match out of him, which is surprising because Test is a lot better than people remember. Obviously, we then get an unsanctioned match, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. This is actually the return of Shawn after 4 years out being a coke fiend.
Was that the claim that he had a back injury, but it was really something else?
He really did have a back injury, but he then became an even bigger coke fiend.
But the reason it took him so long to come back wasn't the back injury; it was other reasons.
Yeah, it was because he spent years on coke, and then they sort of disowned him because of that.
Gotcha.
Because I think he was getting bitter at the fact that WWF exploded in popularity immediately after he retired, basically. So he ended up.
Was this during a time where, I don't know if you guys ever saw the Hulk or the Road Warrior documentary that came out, and I think it was when Shawn Michaels became Christian again, and that kind of changed Road Warrior Hulk's outlook on life, I guess.
Oh, this is it. This is basically a classic. Have you ever met anyone who's a born again Christian who doesn't have loads of enemies?
Okay.
Basically, he alienated himself from pretty much everyone in wrestling, and then basically, thank God. I suppose we have to try and take him back. I mean, it's really fortunate for him that he's a fantastic professional wrestler, because no one would have tolerated his shit if he was bang average. And obviously the main event is The Rock versus Brock, which is obviously it was a big deal back then. But yeah, sorry, excuse me. I'll show the thumbnail that I made for the episode. Jeff Jarrett is better than Shawn Michaels, claims WWE veteran, not naming any names. It's obviously better.
Everybody knows.
But yeah, Jeff Jarrett's quite good. Anyway, so join us for that at midnight in the UK, which I believe is 7 in the Eastern time zone. But anyway, I suppose in keeping with the trip and how things are, I suppose we should say good night to the audience for now.
Right. So, Tom, thanks for having me on. Spencer, good to see you too. I'm looking forward to tonight. We're watching you guys in Wrestling and SummerSlam 2002. Hope that everyone has a good day and good weekend. Take care.
Just 1 second, just checking the score. Anyway, right. So, Spencer, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans, the Spencer Knights?
Well, to the 2 Spencer Knight fans that are watching or may not be or whatever, have a good evening. About to head off and go do some roller coasters. Hopefully we don't get stuck on a roller coaster like the Griffin crew did yesterday for 2 hours. At least they did get stuck. I'll send you the article, Tom. You'll laugh, and Alonzo sends you. But other than that, thanks for coming by. Thanks for everything, and we shall see you. I'll see you Monday. So take care.
Thank you, Colonel Stefan, Sam Greenwood, obviously, the Lord, Chris Nix, Brownie popping in, Bargav, Ty was saying my favourite teapot. Apologise if I haven't mentioned your name, but still, thank you for showing up, showing out. I believe it's the code that people in use, and I suppose I should. I'm filibustering because I haven't lined up the exit video because, of course, I haven't. Where is it? Outro. You need to line this up so it's a lot easier to. It's actually in the most obvious place, so I should have played it. I'll probably take some videos, Colonel. Spencer, do a live stream of the theme park. Anyway, so have a good night, everyone. Thank you for supporting the show, supporting Gary. One day, Gary will actually turn up on his own show, hopefully. I can't believe I should have opened with that. I totally should have opened with that. But then he did come in anyway. Are you going Coney Island? Warriors come out to play, eh? Anyway, it's a great film. Anyway, I didn't actually get to give any of my own Bond opinions, but that's all right because we're doing it Monday anyway. So, peace out, y'all, as we say on the mean streets of Greenwich.
Life is a journey. Don't wait.